mercy. Yeah.
That's what I done with Dad. I just kind of set it.
Is that what?
Well, the first little bit we had it set on the table, and then we're sitting somewhere else, and then I set it over there. And whenever I was with Jeremy, we went by the college. Oh, that one thing with Jeremy is funny, because we went to the college and just said, oh, that'd be a good place to do the video. So we went to see if it was unlocked, because he had to use the bathroom. And we went in there, and he sat on the chair, and I come over on this side. Like I had a bunch of cameras, but I just had this phone, you know. I done it over here for a little bit, come over here, I stood over here, and then later on I could go over there and just make it look like there was cameras shooting.
Oh, really?
You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be something else.
It's a good, it's been fun.
Yeah.
Here for the past couple months I've been doing it.
Well. Pat gets on me because she says I don't talk. Lord.
It is kind of like I was around my Uncle Walter, and but later on I was like, oh, I should have got the camera out. But it was kind of weird. It is weird because even with Jeremy or Brand or something, a lot of times they're looking at me like, man, why you got that thing out again?
Yeah. It's something like you said, something for later on, years of possession.
Mm-hmm.
I know we used to have a little Super 8 camera, and I took mom and my daddy when the kids was real small, and when yins would drive down the hill and slide and spin on that asphalt thing.
Mm-hmm. But
I've lost my films. I don't know where they at. I hadn't kept up with them, but they give anything to have them back. You know, they'd sit there to watch them. I had some of my daddy driving the tractor coming in from the field. Stuff.
It's funny because you had to go through so much to record something back then compared to now, and now people ain't hardly even, like families and stuff. There ain't a whole lot of videotaping and picture taking going on.
It ain't.
And it's the easiest it's ever been to just, hit a button.
Yeah. Everybody, all mom's sisters, they was all the time taking pictures and stuff. We didn't even have a camera in the house. Daddy never did buy no cameras or no film.
We wasn't really big picture takers when we were kids. I remember we never had a camcorder. I know we would watch other people's tapes because they would catch us on there. Like Johnsy would have tapes, and Amy would have tapes and stuff, so we'd catch them on there.
Yeah. Well, when we had that 8mm, it was we took a good many. But I just somehow we got quit. Then my tapes got scattered out. I don't know. Should have took better care over that. But you don't think, at the time that this will be a valuable piece of property later years. Of course, sometimes you don't think you're going to grow up to be 40 or 50 or 60. You think you'll be gone before then, but the Lord's been good. Hang around here for 77 years, soon be.
Did you feel like how many times did it feel like this is the end times and we ain't even going to be here,
Well, I think about that almost every day, BJ. It's the same about this morning, the absence of not seeing your family and stuff like. But then that I did that. I mean, you're sitting out here talking. The Lord said, well, you're supposed to love me more.
Yeah, I remember that day.
Yeah, and that really stuck with me. It hit me pretty hard because it was true. I mean, I was sort of concerned about separation of the family, but Paul always said to be absent of the body, be present with the Lord. And that's what I should have been thinking. Well, I'll be with Jesus, and that sort of dumbfounded me there for a little bit. Even though I know that He's supposed to be first in our lives, He said, "You're supposed to love me more." So it's a thought of being in His presence. We don't really think much about that. I don't think like we should, because that would give us that stronger desire to be there and really to get Him first place in our life. If we think about what it'd be like to be with Him all the time, walk and talk with Him.
There's toothpicks in that, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you
were.
Oh,
no, I was telling the camera because it looks like there's a shot glass sitting there.
Really?
Didn't want you to think we was having some Irish coffee this morning.
Yeah.
Let me change angles here.
Yeah, no.
So y'all all of a sudden cut,
Yeah.
and it'll go straight to something from this angle.
Yeah.
They say the human attention span, and this is really neat because I feel like the Lord, puts people in your pathway, to glean little things here and there.
Yeah.
And the guy playing bass for us right now at church, he used to work for the TV station. And just around the time I started messing with this, he was just like, oh, by the way, yeah, I used to cut and edit video and everything. He said the human attention span lasts for about 7 seconds. So you could, like if you're looking at one thing, you start getting bored after looking at just one thing after about 7. And so, I'll just cut from in between things. That's why how come you'll see, like earlier, had that fire for a few seconds, and then there was a dog, and then fire,
Yeah. In other words, you just switch it around to keep the thing going. Huh?
Mm-hmm. It captivates your attention. It gets you watching.
Yeah. There used to be some planes that would come and fly out over the sandbar here. Was that mean you was over Crossroads one time when about 5 or 6 of them Cub planes come in?
I can't really remember.
It was one day last summer.
It might have been.
Seemed like, anyway, I was eating breakfast with somebody over there, and they was 6 of them little Cub planes landed out there right behind where that man used to sell watermelons.
Mm-hmm.
Them little Piper Cubs. They come in there and eat breakfast.
How far, like I know, you kind of glean little things here and there from your folks and everything about where you started and everything. I know you talked about your great-grandpa and stuff like that. How far back does the stories go to where your mom and dad remembered their people?
Where mom and dad remembered their people?
Yeah.
Well, I guess they remembered. I don't know if my daddy ever remembered his grandpa or grandma or not. He never did talk about it. Mom didn't hers either. But we when we was little, we used to go up there every summer. We'd go to Grandma Little's, Grandma Honeycutt's. Every other Sunday, switch it on Saturday night. Sometimes they'd go, and spend the night with and they'd listen to the Grand Ole Opry or something like that. But as far as I know, our family wasn't really all big and large. I know it was, but we never did. Mom and beyond her brothers and sisters, we never did go back much. Now that there's a lady lived in the Old Fort called Aunt Lee. That was Grandma's sister. That was the only one that they ever talked about. And we went up her several times. to see her, and we spent the night up her some. In fact, Grandma lived with her for a long time, and she come down and lived with us in the house there, and then she bought a. Well, she had a place over from where my daddy's place is, but when her husband died, she couldn't. That was in the Depression days, and they took her farm because she couldn't pay taxes on it. And Red Heifer, he paid the taxes on it. She had a big old tater cave back down there in the woods, and that's where they kept their taters at all winter long. And but anyway, when she lost her place because she couldn't pay taxes, she moved in with us, and lived there for a couple of years. And then she bought that place up there behind Weinbarger's Grocery.
This is Grandma Honeycutt or Grandma Little?
Grandma Little. And I think she bought a little old house, and I think it was about 7 or 8 acres of land. And carried water from the spring. She didn't have no well. Had to go first from here to the highway out there, probably 600 yards, to carry water to the house.
Heard somebody say she had kind of an odd accent, like did she have some kind of Dutch accent or something?
I don't know. Grandma was a half Cherokee.
Oh, okay.
She's half Cherokee, and I didn't know that till later up in years. We was fairly well grown, so before they ever started talking. I knew she was sort of a dark skin, and Odell was, too, and all that. But she just where's that? She sell whiskey, sell liquor to make a few dollars here and there, I guess. But finally, they, my uncle and her boy and my daddy, they all helped dig them a well. And she said before she got her well dug, she'd set barrels under where the V of the house would come down, and she'd catch 55-gallon barrels of water from the rain to do her washing, so we wouldn't have to carry so much water.
That's pretty slick.
But it was something else. We go up there about every Sunday to Grandma Lou's to have chicken and dumplings. And I remember one time they killed a goat. We eat goat, but I can't remember how it tasted. But I remember killing that goat just as pretty as you please. Seeing them. And, but then Odell, they had a pig that would get out of the lot. And Odell said that he run that pig around and said, finally went back in the lot. He said, if you get out of here one more time, he said, I'm going to kill you. He said he hadn't much more got that said and got the pig back in the lot. There was a hole. He hadn't got the hole shut up yet. And that pig took off toward that hole, and Odell did too. He had a hammer in his hand. And the pig just pushed his head through the wire fixture, come out, and Odell hit him right in the head. Right there, killed him dead as a doornail. Grandma sent word down there from there if he'd come up there and help dress it out so it wouldn't ruin. Yeah, some crazy stuff going on. We down at one of Mom's cousins, and they lived way over down there on the river bend, and Poot's brother lived right across the road from up on a big old hill. Elmer Keehan owns it now. Built a big old house, but she had 2 boys and a girl, and we'd go over and play and ride bicycles and stuff. And we was over at Poot's, we were riding on the highway, on the dirt road, and Lee heard somebody holler for Lee, just about screaming. And we took off running back up there, and his mama was walking walking across where they used to have a well, but they had filled it in, and that well had sunk down about 30 feet, and she just caught herself on the walls, had her feet spread out in her hands like that, and then she didn't go all the way to she was probably about 20 feet down in that well.
Lord have mercy.
And that was sort of scary. Got her back up out of it. Stuck a ladder down there for her to get a hold of, and then climb back up on it, holding it and stuff. But it was a lot of fun stuff, a lot of hard stuff. We just had scrap bicycles. We never did have a good one. But stuff like that. That was back on the river when we like to go back there, fish. Me and Ken McCray and I think Pete, Ab, and Babe, maybe Donald. We went back there one night to camp out. We took a chicken with us. And we picked that chicken, and you've seen all the cowboy movies, they stick a stick through him, and roast it on the fire. We done that. We roasted that chicken. About all night long. And it never did get done. We tried to eat that thing and blood run out the corner of the eye. We didn't have sense enough to take no salt with us when we went. Didn't have no salt or nothing. That's a mess. We geeked a couple of frogs. Did eat a couple of frog legs. They roasted up quicker. But we used to have a pretty good time and stuff like that. Going back there. Doing stuff. Pop Honeycutt, he was a sawmill man. He had two big old horses he pulled logs with. And then he run the sawmill. And two big old pretty black horses. And, that's all he done all his life was saw lumber. Yeah. Did something else.
Where was you born at?
I was born in the old house there where we used to live.
Oh, you was born at home?
Yeah, I was born at home. In the old house there, is what we call the middle room. We had a kitchen, and it was actually a bedroom, and then there was a living room, and then it was a hallway, and then it was another living room. That one, they'd switch the living rooms around sometimes to bedrooms. And I remember when my daddy come home one day, big old roll of paper. What in the world? And he had bought a roll of wallpaper. It was about 4 foot wide. I remember we helped put that stuff up. It was pretty, but after a couple of years, it got damp or something. It started falling down. They tore it down. Then we put that old brick-looking stuff on the outside. It was actually tar paper, shaped like brick and colored like brick. Put that stuff on for long. It took us about a month to get that stuff put on. Stuff.
That probably helped with insulation a little bit.
Yeah, so, yeah. That old house stood up on the edge of rocks. I wish I'd had some pictures of that.
I remember that.
They act like now a house is going to fall down or something. They'd stand that big old house up at probably that high off the ground. Just had some oblong rocks. They'd stand up on the end to probably a 8x8 or 6x6, something on for their seals. And that whole house was built on the end of rocks. We'd get up and under it and play with little old cars and stuff in the summertime. And but that was, we'd take spools of thread. When Mom get done with the thread, we'd get the spools and stick them, cut little old notches in the wheel around it, knob, stick a rubber band through it and put a little short stick on this side and put a long one on this side. Twist that rubber band around, and you lay it down on the floor, and then that spool would just crawl across the ground like that. It was really the rubber band unwinding that made it turn, you know. But didn't have much stuff to play with, not much at all. Made what we could make.
Where was Landon through y'all's upbringing? Where was he roundabouts?
Well, he was pretty much around all the time. That was my daddy's youngest brother. And of course, anytime we spent the night up there, you know, we'd get out and walk and ramble around through the woods and stuff. Of course, he had him a job then, and then they moved down there. Grandma got too old to take care of herself, and they moved down there close to my daddy. She lived in an old house where I used to live, and Landon did too. But he always played the guitar, and he was so shy though he wouldn't play it till he got drunk. I remember he'd get drunk and he'd play that Rock and Robin, Rock and Robin.
Mm-hmm.
I forget now who sung it. Chuck Berry.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd get down and bounce around just like he did. But he never would. He was just so shy he wouldn't play the guitar till he got to where he didn't hear what he'd done. I reckon stuff like that. But he always come down before they moved down there. He always come down sometimes on Saturdays with he finally got him a little old car, and come down there sometimes. We had home one Saturday, and Charlie had just bought him a car. That was Landon's brother older than him. We bought him an old 40 Ford Coach, and Charlie was going to line the brakes on it, and he did. They got them all lined up. They was going out there. Said, let's go try them out, see how they doing. He was going down that dirt road there at that time towards Willard Bowman's, and going down that little straight stretch. He said, let's try these brakes out. He threw his brakes on his wheel. One wheel locked up. It turned his car over. Oh, Lord. It didn't hurt nobody, but sure bent his car up all to pieces. He hadn't had it long. Oh, ever since they said, here comes the brake mechanic. But they had goats. We'd go up there on Sundays or Saturdays, and they'd have, if it was morning or evening time, they had a plank about 6 or 8 inches wide nailed onto the little granary. They'd set a little bit of feet up on that shelf, and that old goat would just jump up on that shelf. And it was about 30 or 35 inches tall. And it'd jump on that shelf, and they'd milk the goat standing right there like that. They had 2 milk goats. But it's funny how things went. Carried on.
How'd you end up out around this way to end up meeting Grandma?
I met her. She dated Sonny first. I met her through Sonny and dated her, and I'd seen her, and I got acquainted with that. Of course, we'd seen them before. See, they lived. We had to go by their house to go to Pop Honeycutt's. But anyway, I got to dating her. Wasn't long after we started dating, we got married. Then moved. Well, we lived on Snow. Well, we lived in my daddy's old house for a long time. And then we moved, bought us a house on Snow Creek. 3-bedroom house. Lived up there for years and then sold it. Bought some land from her daddy and built a house over there. Built a basement house in 68. Then we built upstairs in 72. And we lived there till 7 years ago, till we moved over here. We bought this place in '84. The land. And then never did do nothing with it for a long time, but somebody gave Greg a trailer and he brought it over here and parked it, and we got to hang around in there a little bit if it rained or something. I never used the bathroom. Then we built this place here. Couldn't heat that old trailer, it's too cold and too old. Pat said, we gotta have a bathroom, And I built that part on, unless you remember, I built that part on when the trailer was sitting here.
Mm-hmm.
I built that part on. And she kept saying, well, we had a bathroom with the trailer, but it was so cold.
Yeah.
And she said, we're gonna have to have a warm bathroom. So I pulled that trailer. I had Todd Simmer to come pull that trailer out of the way. We built this side here. And I put 2 bathrooms in the bedroom. So been like that ever since.
I never remember going up into the trailer from right there.
Yeah, that was right through there. Yeah. It's been fun. It's nice to be on the river, but after you're there for a while, you don't think about, after living here now, if you want to go to a campground, it seems odd.
Right.
Well, why you want to go to a campground when you got to prove your place long? We went up there to that, I don't know if it was West Jefferson State Park, somewhere, I forget what the name of it was. Had a big old creek coming down by it. That's where Caitlin's mama and them lives up there close to that. We went up there, looked about camping out her on the edge of the thing. Pat said, well, why would we want to come up here and pay when we got a prettier place at home?
Yeah.
We ain't been camping a whole lot since then. But I like to go to the coast. Try to fish, try to get something. But I've enjoyed it pretty much. Get my barn. Got it back for a job.
7 years.
Yeah, don't seem like it, but it's fast. That ain't much of a story, but that's about it.
Oh no, that's good.
Now Pat she can remember stuff and tell stories about stuff like that when they was young and all the stuff that went on.
I'll have to get her.
But we never did, when we was little, we never did get to go a whole lot except to Grandma Little's and Grandma Honeycutt's. And sometimes we'd go visit my daddy's older brother Everett. He had a place of his own.
Everett.
Yeah, Everett Honeycutt. He was my uncle. He had a boy named Billy Eugene and Aaron and Earl. And the crazy thing is the place that they lived is right on back over here on I don't know if that was Millersville Creek or if it was Rink Dam Road where there was a waterfalls back there. You walk back there to a big old waterfalls. It's a pretty good walk back through. They wouldn't let me go because they said I was too little. I remember every time we went there, they would all walk back down there to the waterfall. Let's see that. You went to his house, you cut off 127 right to Exxon and come back past Hancock and Moore, and there's a road to Bears off to the left. You went back there to the end of that road, and that's where he lived at.
There a band doing that thing. I switched bands because I had a purple band that come with that thing, and I wanted to blacken, but the metal on it makes me break out.
Is that your watch or what is that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it does your heart rate and stuff too.
Oh, really? Wow.
Or if you do I use that stopwatch at work. See, I'll see how much time I got on the job, and I'll start that stopwatch. See how much I can get on it.
Huh.
Randy said, "You ever timing yourself?"
Well, well, that's what I used to do. Sort of. See, I was on piecework, but I'd try to set a pace so I could, get it going.
Find out which one's got the biggest, how much time you gain on it.
Yeah.
Like that thing, it'll tell me what kind of heart rate I got, if it's resting or fat burning or cardio.
How does it do that?
Whenever it's on, it'll read your pulse.
You have to have it on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
It'll tell you what your heart rate is.
I've never seen one like that.
Yeah, she got. They had some kind of Black Friday deal here. Well, not this past Thanksgiving, but the one before that. And she got her a little skinny one and got me this, wider one.
Yeah. But,
it works good for me.
yeah.
It'll even, if you want it to, now I don't want it to be going off all the time, but it'll notify you when somebody's calling you.
Oh, wow.
Or when you got a message or something too.
Well.
I cut that off. Tell you how many steps you make a day. If you meet your goal, it'll a little rocket ship will go. It'll look like a little rocket ship going in the sky. Yeah.
Wow.
I'll try to catch it. I'll feel it go off. I want to see that rocket go.
Well.
It looks pretty neat.
Well.
They've come a long way with stuff like this.
My goodness.
I just hate that I have to wear a purple band instead of just plain black.
Well, it looks black to me. I guess it's because my eyes are so
Oh,
bad.
this one is black. I put it on. You can take it off and switch them out. It come with a purple band, and that's the one I have to wear. I've had this one on for 3 or 4 days, and sure enough, it's starting to break out.
Oh.
I can't nickel and stuff. That's why I have to wear that silicone wedding ring and stuff.
I thought an airplane was coming in.
Yeah, I thought, what was that?
Never heard that before.
I tried white gold, tungsten, titanium, all kind of different metals. It broke me out. I had to finally get a silicone, just plain plastic, basically a plastic wedding ring.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
I didn't know I never thought about that. You could get a plastic one. And she got me that one.
Does gold break you out too?
Yeah. Oh. It's got anything with any kind of nickel alloy in it. Even I could wear pure gold and it would do it to me. Which when I was younger, I never did wear necklaces or bracelets or nothing like that. So whenever I got 18, I started getting me I already had a belly, but I started getting me a real belly. When I was 18 or 19, I had one of them belts that had studs on it. And I'd be leaned over playing guitar and I'd be sweating down there. And I was like, well, my belly's itching. And it got pretty bad. I had to quit wearing that. My belt's on. My belt buckle is in the back right now. Yeah. Because I can't have it in the front unless my shirt's tucked in.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I got to have my shirt tucked in. I can't stand it when it comes out. I probably stop 8 or 10 times and put my shirt down. I can't stand it. Yeah, Lord.
If I'm at church, I'm glad on Sunday because I don't have to. Because I'll tuck in my t-shirt a lot of times. And if I'm wearing a flannel shirt or a checkered shirt, it's the thing to leave it untucked now. So I'll have my t-shirt tucked in so I can wear my belt buckle in the front, so I don't have to sit there and try to do it in the back. That'd drive me crazy.
Well.
I'm gonna sing. I think I'm gonna sing "Peace in the Valley" for this funeral.
It's a good song.
Let me make sure. Write down. I'm just gonna do a couple of the verses. I think. I don't know how many there are, but I'll just do 2 verses.
Is that my phone?
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, I hate my phone. Excuse me.
You got me my first fight.